There are many facets of this legislative fight. Ashley McGuire, a fellow at the Catholic Association, and Kathryn Lopez, a senior fellow at the National Review Institute, join me now to dig deeper into the implications. Ladies, it's wonderful to have you here with us. Kathryn, you recently wrote about finally talking about abortion rather than euphemisms like choice or decision. How significant is this change?
It's huge. For most of my life, we've been hearing people run away from the word abortion. They talk about choice. They talk about women's health care, women's rights. You had Joe Biden kind of accidentally talking about aborting a child right after the leak of the Supreme Court draft. You have people very openly talking about abortion. And even many of your viewers probably saw the footage. I was at that New York City demonstration. They were protesting prayer 2 weeks ago in Lower Manhattan, and there was a woman simulating an abortion with dolls. There's no pretending anymore. And I think that's good. I think that's an opportunity to have an actual discussion about what abortion is.
Absolutely. Ashley, we just heard two female Republican senators say the rank and file position of the Democrats goes too far, Murkowski and Collins, even though they support abortion. Is their proposal any better?
Only slightly, in that it preserves religious liberty protections, but ultimately it's another attempt to codify Roe, and it's not really going to go anywhere. That being said, I think it was good to hear sort of more centrist members of Congress plainly stating the fact, which is that the Democrats' abortion bill, which they've now tried to pass twice and failed, is just way too extreme, even for those who consider themselves pro-choice.
And do you think we're seeing a shift in Democrats as well? Is there an opening for bipartisan support of some form of restrictions on abortion?
I think that's yet to be seen. I think right now everybody's in a holding pattern, waiting to see the final decision come out of the Supreme Court, and then a lot of chips are going to fall into place. But the reality is that if the final decision looks like the leaked version, they're not going to have a choice. And this is sort of, I think, going to be a healthy and healing moment for the American people, because finally their elected representatives will have to tether back to where they are, to where the voters are, which is a much more sort of pro laws that protect women, common sense laws that protect the health and safety of women and unborn babies.
Well, then let's talk about women there. Kathryn, you've asked for a focus on the welfare of the mother and the child. You see this as the place for common ground. Is that missing in the discussion on Capitol Hill?
Absolutely. The pro-life movement years ago had a phrase, women deserve better. And that's where we should focus our minds, because consistently Knights of Columbus polling, other polling have shown us that the Democrats and anyone who is pushing expansion of abortion, which is really what they're doing, they're not the mainstream of America. That's extremism. And the more we talk about women and their actual health and their safety and the ability, making it possible for young girls and women to actually be the mothers that they already are. So often, as we know, these women don't have a choice. And so, every celebrity seems to be, talking about how women's rights are about to end with the end of Roe. That's a lie. Let's talk about what's really going on when women wind up in an abortion clinic.
And the different symptoms that get them there. Ashley, then there's a lot of fear around this issue. Yes, definitely because women don't feel like they have options, but also because a lot of people have been talking about the criminalization of women who have miscarriages. It's often used to persuade women of the importance of preserving the right to abortion. Are women who suffer from the loss of a child really at risk of incarceration?
No, that's a great example of the complete histrionic fear-mongering that the pro-abortion, and we can say pro-abortion because they, as Kathryn was saying, have stopped pretending like they're for anything but abortion. No, that's just histrionics, and honestly, it's sort of it's condescending to women to think that we're that dumb that we would believe that. And no, I think that Kathryn's absolutely right that this is an incredible moment to reshift our focus. I mean, already the pro-life movement has really put a lot of work in the last couple of decades into being a movement that's for the woman and the child, not just protecting the life of the unborn, but for helping women who do choose life to then flourish as mothers. And I think we're going to see a lot of wonderful conversations happening about how we can do that in a concrete way, because let's be honest, we're going to have to really put our feet to the ground in a concrete way in a post-Roe America.
What would that look like, Ashley? What does putting your feet on the ground in a concrete way look like?
Well, I thought when Senator Tim Scott had a little back and forth with Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen, he gave a great sort of preview of what that looks like. This was when she basically made the case that abortion is good for poor minority communities, and he, as an African-American son of a single mother, said, "I'm so glad that I'm standing here, as a counter indication to that." But he said, "I want to challenge you to a real conversation about laws like more funding, expanding the child care tax credit, finding creative ways to help people who are struggling with the expense of child care, expanding early literacy programs, or take a look at the Texas bill, which at the same time that it basically outlawed abortions after a heartbeat can be detected, funneled tens of millions of dollars into pregnancy resource centers that give women an actual choice and let them decide to be the mom that they're capable of becoming."
Let's talk about this decision then. Kathryn, if the leaked decision doesn't change, restrictions on abortion would be a state-level decision. Would these proposals on Capitol Hill once again stop the democratic process?
What needs to happen is, first of all, as Ashley said, an end to the histrionics, an end to the lies. There are outright lies like that miscarriage point. Also, that women won't get health care if they have other conditions like cancer. No, you can treat a woman's cancer when she's pregnant. This is not ending actual health care. But even more than legislation, as Ashley said, feet to the ground in renewed ways. We need to show the country that we actually love women and will step up to the plate to help them. Do the women in our lives know, the young girls in our lives know that we would help them if they got pregnant in a non-ideal situation? I worry oftentimes that's not the case. They don't know. And this Walking with Moms initiative that the USCCB has, the Catholic bishops, is a really important challenge to all pro-life Catholics to really step up to the plate and see what the resources are in your community and make sure everybody in your church knows this, because abortion doesn't end with the end of Roe. In states like my New York, we're going to have more abortion and become an abortion destination. So it's about more than legislation at the end of Roe.
Well, that's a great call to action, Kathryn. Ashley, thank you so much for joining us. And we did cover the Walking with Moms segment, and we'll make sure that we put that out on social media as well. Thank you so much, ladies.